I'm sorry, Andrew Weissman, but if I recall correctly, in 2018, you were one of the people who helped write the Mueller report, and you all botched the hell out of that.
And never in my wildest dreams would I have thought we would be here. I thought we were better as a country.
Oh, yeah.
Like all these sites that have been around for creating videos and all that, like text stock videos, they're done.
But that's why Canva was one of the first to get into doing AI.
What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team since 2020, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. So let's get into it. Primetime Saturday with Aisha Lala at Patreon. There's the link. Primetime Saturday show store. There's the link. Any updates on merchandise, especially from Lala? Because you were on,
Yeah, I gave Aisha the link.
Okay, good.
And also, too, we got to talk about the Patreon. We've rebranded Primetime 10 and 10 to Girlfriends Chat with Aisha and Lala.
Okay.
Yeah, and we enjoy it so much. So it's more of a just conversation between girlfriends and friends, and yeah.
Nice. All right.
And don't forget, Jill Jones will be joining us this Wednesday.
Yeah, Jill Jones. If you've been around a while, you'll remember she was with us, and she's coming back on the Girlfriends Chat. Also, the Discord group, please email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow if you want to be part of the Discord group. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show, on YouTube, and hit notification button because our next goal is 1,600 subscribers. We've smashed through 1,500. 1,600 is next. Also, follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and the Instagram. And if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on the platform, email me. And also, too, mentioning Dr. Chachi, who filled in wonderfully 2.5 hours worth wonderfully last week.
Wow, you guys went that long?
Oh,
yeah. Was a long show.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and we had some trolls too.
Look at Lala's face. Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, and we could have went longer, but Dr. Tachi, the driving force behind Indie Soup Media TV, where replays of this conversation and others that I'm part of are rebroadcasts. Again, 6 months in, 15,000, almost up to 16,000 subscribers. And I'm also a member of the advisory board. So check out this content and other independent content creators' content on that platform. All right, family, let's talk about it. 45 at the National Association of Black Journalists Conference. What?
What's spanked?
Well, some people, go ahead.
I'm a former member of NABJ. I didn't like how this whole setup happened because, in my research on how this conversation became to be, was that, first of all, he turned them down twice.
Mm-hmm.
He turned them down twice. And he only accepted after Kamala was the nominee. And the thought, because you have to remember, he thinks like a 6-year-old. And he doesn't have any thinking that has nuance or context. It's just like, oh, well, there's now a black candidate running against me. She's going to take my black votes, so I have to go to this black venue I don't really want to go, and just show black people that I'm here. And then they invited her. The reason that she didn't show up on the date that they gave her was because Sheila Jackson Lee died and she was giving the eulogy. That was why she didn't show up, not because she didn't want to be in that space. She said there's a scheduling conflict. I'm due to give this eulogy. And I'm sorry, honestly, you would think that they would have been less incensed at the fact that here she is called to eulogize one of the great Black leaders that many of them covered in the first place. But they were angry, and I think that's why they went to Trump a third time. And now, once they got him, it started almost an hour late. And the reason it started an hour late was they said, oh, there were sound technical difficulties, et cetera, et cetera. That's what Trump's people were. NABJ did a horrible job.
To say that, but you know it's wrong in the first place. When he jumps to something quick like that, you know it's a lie.
But see, NABJ was horrible for waiting almost a week before they came out and said, no, actually the problem was that his people wanted to give us questions to ask him. They wanted to have approval over everything, and we weren't going to let them. So the reason it started almost an hour late was because of back and forth at the last minute from Trump's people with the host and the event planners. And so when he gets on there, now mind you, this first Black woman, the woman in the blue suit from ABC News, she shook his hand. Everybody shook his hand. So I don't understand what his complaint about her saying, well, she didn't say to me, hi, sir, how are you doing? Nice to have you here. She shook your hand. That implied, hi, how are you? Now let's get to the question. You weren't there. You weren't there to have your ego stroked. You were there to tell the Black community why they should consider you, because these Black journalists were going to go back and write articles for Black people to tell Black people where he stood on the issues. The problem is there are no issues that you stand on, especially none that support Black people. Kamala Harris actually has a record in the Biden administration of over 100 executive orders that directly impact and were specifically for Black people. So the whole point of him being there was just to show face. But then he also was going to, there was supposed to, Harris Faulkner wasn't the Fox News reporter that was supposed to be there on the stage with him. It was supposed to be the man that's on Fox and Friends, but they brought Harris Faulkner. Again, we talked about this in the pre-show, but Harris Faulkner should not have been there because she's not an NABJ member. It should have only been Black media who are members. That's the first thing. The second thing, the woman from ABC was asking very, very pertinent questions. He didn't want to answer that question. That's what it was. That first question, why should Black voters vote for you?
Yeah.
And when he doesn't have an answer for anything, because here's the thing, the man touts himself as the best president for Black people since Abraham Lincoln, but he can't name one thing that he's done. He said that he saved Black colleges, that he can't say one thing that he's done. As a matter of fact, that bill that he says that was his was actually written by Kamala Harris and some other people. So the thing is that he can't stand on business because he has no business on which to stand. And the problem for the problem that we have as journalists is, do we platform this crap or not? And on one hand, I see white journalists who say, well, no, we need to be reminded of what Trump does and what he looks like and how mean and nasty he can be. You do that on your forum, as far as I'm concerned.
Why do we got to do it on ours?
Why are you asking Black people to endure this trauma-inducing experience so that you all can see this man differently? That to me is wrong, and I think that there were a lot of things that he said that were blasphemous. But here's the point: when does he never not say anything that's blasphemous? Everything that comes out of his mouth is blasphemous, boisterous. It's big, it's brash, because he's trying to hide a very little mind. So the talk is big, but he's low and small on the thinking part of it. And I just think that the National Association of Black Journalists got played. I'm glad I did not renew my membership this year.
They played right into his hands.
They did. And I think the how it came was ridiculous, and I applaud the woman who's the member of the board who stepped down and was like, I'm out of here because this is ridiculous.
I just think it was a circus. We knew that his true character always shines through. He never has hidden his true character. He cannot handle the tough questions. This is why he always wants to demand things that he wants. He wants Fox News. He wants this reporter. He doesn't want to be fact checked. He doesn't want to be. Then you're just nothing but an empty mouthpiece spewing hate. You didn't come there with the right intentions. You have no right intentions for our community, none at all. And you are just showing the that you are. And I'm not mad at how these ladies came out and just reamed him for the questions that needed to be asked. And of course, he didn't answer them. And you can see that his passive aggressiveness was so very clear. Now, I know that there's been like a lot of analysis with the water bottle and all that stuff. And I think that's a little going beyond things. But there was something really strange about that, too. I mean, we knew he had his own water bottle. So what was that all about? I mean, it was just like he was trying, like he tightened it like as it was an aggression. He does not like to be questioned by anyone, but especially Black women. And it showed.
Ladies, do you want to go through 5 moments that from him going off the rails or not?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
We can. I'm trying to think if it's going to make any difference because it's his greatest hits.
Hey, we just lost Lala for a moment. I know she'll be back.
Well, let's do it. Let's run down his top 5 because it's the same top 5 no matter where he goes.
Okay, so this is an article from Axios. And so it's titled 5 Explosive Moments from 45's Off the Rails NABJ Interview. Number 1, 45 attacks Harris over her race. 45.
Let's talk about that last.
Okay. All right. Okay. He said he would, quote, absolutely, unquote, pardon January 6 rioters. 45 reaffirmed
he said that before.
that he would pardon those convicted in January 6 attack, saying, quote, if they're innocent, I would pardon them, unquote. There's
really no need to go into what he said actually, because he's said this before. We've covered it before. He said this before. The only thing that was different in this particular circumstance is that he said, well, they didn't jail anybody who participated in riots during 2020. Let's be very clear that there were not a lot of riots. Oftentimes they found that the people that came in and caused trouble were Trump people that came in and caused trouble. But also too, they did arrest people. He said no one died on January 6th. Doesn't he hustle on that one woman, Ashley Babbitt, all the time? She died on that day. And then also too, he's brought in this recent riot that happened in DC. But that had absolutely nothing to do with this. Those people were already protesting. It was peaceful, and they got into this row with police, but they did not try to stop an election, the counting of votes for an election. They did not try to stop the natural order of business. They were not, and let's be very clear. Remember how quickly the police got to those people, and think about how long it took. January 6th rioters had to disperse on their own. The police ended that incident that happened recently. So it's just nonsense on that part, on that one.
So we've got Lala back. Yeah, he's saying. This article says what he's saying. Asked about the videos from that day that depict officers who responded to the attack being beaten and dragged down the stairs of the Capitol. 45 said, quote, they shot a young lady in the face who was protesting, unquote, referring to the deadly shooting of Ashley Babbitt. 45 then falsely claimed that, quote, no one died, unquote, right after referencing Babbitt's shooting.
Right, which
He
was
also,
what I just said. Yeah.
he also echoed a conspiracy theory about the Capitol attack, saying officers were, quote, ushering unquote rioters into the building. Okay. All right. Next, another one. 45 downplays VP importance in the wake of Vance criticism.
Again, he basically
so
said
sorry that he chose this man.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm just
basically he just said that well, JD Vance isn't that important. Dude, that's the person that if you eat one too many hamburgers, your arteries will clog up and you roll over and die. It's supposed to take over, you know. So that is something that you will be judged on, because guess who was judged on their VP pick? John McCain.
Yeah.
John McCain lost as big as he lost in part because of his VP pick. No one felt comfortable letting that woman be second in line.
But not only that, within his own party, the racism is rampant. They do not want this man in there because he is married to a non-white woman. And another thing, the fact that he can't protect or even defend as a husband his wife the way that he reacts. Well, she's a good mother. You know, that's pretty disgusting. And so for us women, we think that that's absolutely ridiculous. But for the racists in the party, the true MAGA of the party, they're not going to accept Vance because of his wife.
Yeah. I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, that's why he also has to downplay it. And he's also downplaying it. He was also downplaying it then at that moment because he wasn't clear who Kamala was choosing. You got to remember her choices. All of her choices were like years better than what he chose. And the last reason I'll say why he downplayed the importance of JD Vance, and we talked about this last week with Dr. Tachi, was that JD Vance was not his first pick. JD Vance was the pick of Carlson Tucker and Don Jr., and it's turned out to be a bit of an embarrassment for Trump because now people are laughing at him and calling him weird. They started by calling JD Vance weird, and now the weird moniker is sticking to Trump. And if there's anything that he hates, and he said it himself, the thing that he hates the most is to be laughed at. And when people were making the memes about JD Vance and the couches, people were laughing at Trump.
But I'm curious to know why those people pushed Vance. Out of all the picks, why on earth did those people demand that Vance be the pick?
Because on policy issues, the Project 2025 policy issues, he was in sync with the Heritage Foundation.
Well, we see how that's turning out.
As much as they keep trying to downplay Project 2025, it's still their platform.
It's still their platform.
Okay.
And JD Vance would unapologetically push it, and so that's why. So
just in regards to some comments here from the article, VP importance, he contended after 45 contended after, quote, 2 or 3 days, unquote, the excitement over a running mate dies down, and it's all about, quote, all about the presidential pick. He doubled down, reiterating the choice makes, quote, no difference, unquote. He said he thinks JD Vance is, quote, outstanding, unquote, but added, quote, you're voting for me, unquote. Yes, allies of the former president hoped the Rust Belt native would bolster the former president's support in key swing states. Next up, he gives little detail on police immunity proposal. I think we chatted about this last week, but he went in on this saying, you know, the former president said the officer who killed Sonia Massey, an unarmed 36-year-old woman who was fatally shot in her home in Illinois after calling 911 earlier in July, quote, might not, unquote, receive immunity when asked about his campaign proposal to give police officers immunity from prosecution. He said,
I don't think
let me just say,
I don't think we should spend a whole lot of time on this particular one because the bottom line, this Axios pointed out that this is one of the big things that came out. It was big, but on the other hand, it wasn't, because one, He had no idea who Sonia Massey was
No, he did
or what
not.
happened to her. He just heard the word immunity, period, and knows that he's getting immunity for certain things, and that the Supreme Court did that. He has no knowledge about what police immunity is either. And for them, so you got to remember when they said those words, police immunity, he doesn't know what that phrase means any more than he knew what DEI meant. And so we don't even really need to spend a whole lot of time on that, because the bottom line is that he answered a question he did not understand.
Let's continue on in this article. He said they do say 45 did not get any concrete outline of how the proposal would work. 45 lost previous election in 2020 against President Biden months after historic anti-racism protest sprung up upon the Mississippi police killing of George Floyd. When asked about the details of his pledge, he said, quote, "There's a big difference between being a bad person and making an innocent mistake. But if somebody made an innocent mistake, I would want to help that person," unquote. And then he said sometimes, quote, "very bad decisions," unquote, "are made, but not from a, quote, evil standpoint," unquote. So another thing he said, good old black jobs.
I'm tired of him.
Well, guess what? I love the fact that Simone Biles said she loved her black job.
Yeah, we got good clapbacks for that. I'm sorry, that's exactly what that is, Dr.
And then he doubled down on it again, and I'm glad someone asked him what was a black job, but again, that's why he was further insulted by this woman, because he was like, I'm just supposed to be allowed to say black jobs, and you move on to something else, but you're not supposed to ask me what I mean by that. And the fact that she asked him, he was like, the look on his face, I don't have an answer for this. So he said, it's a black job that anybody works. It's a job that anybody works. Well, then you mean just a job.
Right.
Well, he did say, when asked that question during the NABJ, says, quote, "A black job is anyone that has a job," unquote. He said,
a
quote,
job.
Because
Because remember, he said anyone. He didn't say anyone black. He said anyone. So basically, so white people have black jobs? Is that what you're saying? Because that's the other part that was a disappointment to me, was that no one followed up on that question. Once he said that, real journalists, really good journalists, stop and go, wait a second. So you're saying anybody that has a black job. So are you saying that white people have black jobs? And then what specifically are those black jobs? Because the point is to get him to say what he really means, and he means low wage jobs.
He said, quote, he said, quote, "They're taking employment away from black people," unquote. He basically claimed of migrants. The other side, Biden slammed 45 over the comment earlier this month, saying to a crowd at an NAACP event, "Folks, I know what a black job is. It's vice president of the United States."
Right.
So that's a little bit of a breakdown of that event.
But that particular one about the quote, see, that's one. I love Axios, but sometimes they get things wrong. The order that they should put that last part about the black jobs in was wrong, because at first he said they're coming over and they're taking jobs from black people. Then he made the black jobs comment. That's why it was so stark. But going back to I said let's go back to that first thing about trying to about the race of Kamala Harris. I have said this on Discord. I've said it to Lala, and I'll say it to anyone who listens. He got the idea to do that from Nikki Haley. That was a Nikki Haley manufacturing point, because all she had to do was think about the very thing that people say about her in politics that pissed her off more than anything. Because Trump is not that smart, and neither are the people around him that smart about race and nuances of race to craft anything other than, oh, we'll just throw DEI at her. Like,
right.
Throw woke at them, CRT. No, they don't know how different groups react and interact about race. And so that came from someone, that came from two people. He asked a Black person, and I promise you it was Tim Scott. He asked another Black person. He asked an Indian person, and I promise you that was Nikki Haley. And then they made it clear, because that's not something that he came up on his own.
No.
And the part about her, it's like it's bizarre that this man is older, way older, way older than I am, and has no concept of how mixed heritages work in this country.
Yeah, exactly.
And have worked. You wait a second. You are how old, and you don't know in this country that your own people define anybody they see as with brown skin as Black? Come on. You were marking your application, your apartment applications with a C for color.
Primetime Saturday with Aisha Lala. Join Aisha K. Staggers and Laura Lala Key as they cut through the chaos and make some sense of the nonsense in American news and politics.
People are expecting Obama-level eloquence out of a man who's always talked like this.
Sharp insights, bold opinions, and a touch of humor. It's the show that keeps you informed and entertained.
There's no way that Trump is going to debate her.
Don't miss Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala. Tune in and stay ahead of the headlines. Kamala Harris's platform, what is it?
She's got a lot of things that she's talking about. One of the things that she wants to definitely do is continue with the loan forgiveness for students. She wants to expand the cutting of costs for prescription drugs. She also wants to cap unfair rent hikes. That's one of the things that I think that a lot of people, not just on the left, on the right, could get behind, especially if you are a parent of an adult child who lives at home because they can't afford to get an apartment on their own. She also wants to expand what they did with the unfair banking fees and credit card fees. They want to be able to expand that. Of course, she wants to redo. She wants to put codify Roe. She wants to do sensible gun violence checks that we couldn't get done before. But the thing that really should stand out to people, and she said this very much in her speech in Atlanta, was that she wants to deal with the price gouging. The reason she said, yes, the economy is recovering, but she pivoted in a way that we kept asking Joe Biden to, and he just didn't. But because I think that the economy was, it was his issue, but like she said, the economy, we've had a great recovery. However, the costs are too high. Groceries are too high. And so she wants to work at fixing the price gouging, passing legislation that won't let these companies that charge us for goods and services to inflate the prices to the point that we can't afford them. Because, yes, I understand that when salaries grow up, we should expect prices to go up a little bit, but not to the point that I don't even see my pay increase.
Basically, I literally had a friend this week say she passed on orange juice for the first time because it was $8. This was not in California. This was one of those mid state areas, and she said, "I just refuse to pay $8 for orange juice. I can't do it." That's crazy.
Right. And that literally is price gouging. And one of the other things too, she like she said, she will fix immigration, but we have to make it very clear and very known that they're going to try and paint her with this brush of immigration. Guess what?
They called it a border czar.
Exactly. That was the title that they came up with when Donald Trump said that he was going to. They came up with that in 2020. So this tells you how they recycle stuff, right? Or they go and they search. What did we call her back then that we can use now? But the crossings are down, And this is the other reason he doesn't want to date her, because he can't slap her with the immigration thing, because the crossings are down. And she will ask him, we had the bill. Why did you tell them
Right.
not to support it? We had the bill. Why did you tell them not to support it? And also, too, that Kamala Harris is a prosecutor and she does better journalism than some of those women on that stage, is that she would have held onto that bone like a dog and not gave it up until he gave up the answer.
Right. Exactly.
Or at least a non-answer. And then to which she would have been like, okay, so I guess you don't have an answer for that. But yeah, I mean, that is, I think, where I think that's where he actually falters a bit, is because he does not have a platform. And so people are saying, well, we don't know what her platform is. No, it's not that you don't know what her platform is. She has a platform. You can go find it on her campaign website if you actually take the time to look. The problem is that because he has a platform, people are assuming that she doesn't. And that she can't possibly have a platform this quick. But you got to remember, she isn't just adopting Joe Biden's campaign. She's saying all of the things that people are saying. Her platform is what the people want. And people are being critical of that because they can't believe that people want these things. Hello? Yeah.
For a long time. So
But
she still backs Biden's a whole economic thing. She still supports Biden's investing in America agenda. And if you look at that, you'll see that that includes like the infrastructure investment that we need so badly. In Louisville alone, there are bridges that are so bad right now. I'm scared to death to drive across them when I go home. She supports the Clean Energy Initiative. She also emphasizes the need for economic policies that support working families, such as child care support, tax credits for the lower income individuals, and she's advocated for the wealthy to pay higher taxes, aiming to create more of an economic landscape. She has platforms. People just don't want to hear that she has platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget, though, y'all, people don't understand. We've gone through the RNC. The RNC has done their thing. We haven't done ours yet. Ours comes this month, in the middle of this month. A lot of these questions that people are trying to throw out and act like she doesn't have will be answered at that time. It's our right to wait till that time for our candidate to say what she is standing on.
Yeah. And the other part of it too is that people feel like, oh, this happened too quickly, so there's all style there, no substance. But the bottom line is that she is full of substance, because all you have to do is watch, because not only is she running a campaign, she's still being vice president. Hello. Did you not see her on the tarmac with President Biden as those hostages were coming home from Russia? Okay.
Yeah, nobody wants to talk about that.
She was right there. Nobody wants to talk about it. But Joe Biden is talking about it. Joe Biden said that she was integral in helping with this partnership. Okay. So I also think too, what will be good is that Joe Biden will be speaking at the DNC, and he's going to be able to tell exactly what she did in his administration. That is what people need to just, sit on their behinds, have some popcorn and a Coke, and be patient. He's going to tell you everything that she's done and why she's a good candidate. And then Kamala Harris is going to tell you herself what she is going to do. She's been, and here's the thing. If you're not watching she says this on every platform, what she wants to do. She's brought it down to salient talking points that are very quick. I'm sorry if you don't, so now what people are trying to say is that, now you're trying to compare her platform to Project 2025 that's 900 pages. Really? That's what we're doing? But at the same At the same time, you also want to act like Project 2025 isn't Trump's platform. You can't have it both ways.
No, you can't. But see, that's all they are is double standards. So, I mean, you know what? I'm just so tired of the fluff. I'm so tired of the smoke and mirrors. America needs better than this. And we both have said that even when Biden was in, we were like, oh, Lord, here we are. We know that he's done good things. But once again, we were like, okay, we got to go with what we got to go. Now we have someone who is completely viable, completely smart, completely knows what she's doing, and we're still fighting smoke screens. I'm tired. I'm tired of this. She has an agenda. She has the smart. She's not afraid to go to toe with Trump. And it's so very clear. But yet, like I've always said, you're never, ever going to change the MAGA Kool-Aid drinkers. You're never going to. So it's the people that we need to get that are undecided or independent and on the fence about whatever they're going to do. Those are the people we need to make sure that we get to. And we need to make sure that people understand they still need to vote, because your non-vote still is saying something. So it doesn't matter what we say about MAGA. It doesn't matter what Trump is saying, because he's not saying anything.
Right.
Nothing. He's repeating the same old script. So her platform is way beyond anything he's ever thought about, right, because he's only thought about him and how this status can serve him.
Project 2025 update. What's going on with it? Yeah, ladies.
Don't fall for the hype. They trying to make it look like that they are falling apart. They are not falling apart. They are still planning on implementing this thing. Don't lose your focus. They see that Trump doesn't want to try to distance himself from it, but they are still moving forward. Don't fall for the hype. Don't do it.
And here's the thing. The guy that stepped down, he stepped down from doing doing active policy. Now, here's the thing. They haven't been doing any active policy right now because they're not in control. But basically, this guy stepped down because they don't have to write anything else. They don't have to publish anything else. And if you think that they're off it, they aren't, when the leader of the Heritage Foundation has J.D. Vance writing the foreword to his book about Project 2025. J.D. Vance, who is the Republican VP. So clearly he had to get permission for Donald Trump to do this, okay? So they are continuing in Project 2025. What does this mean, this director stepping down? It means that they're no longer doing the coming up with the policy. Now they're in the implementation. Right, they're in the implementation phase. Okay,
which they've already started. I'm so sick of saying. Now we had 3 people tell me this week that, oh no, they'll never be able to implement this. BS. They already have implemented this stuff in Texas, Florida, Alabama, all those southern states. They've already started implementing this. Don't you dare think that they cannot. The whole role is the first 180 days. They've already
that's all it is. That's all Project 2025 is, the first 180 days. That is the whole thrust of it. It's not going past there. And for example, there are blockades in the way. Like, for example, in Florida, the court said that the Stop Woke Act is permanently shelved. It's permanently done. Ron DeSantis cannot do it. And so this makes them angry, right? But it's just like Georgia taking away the federal funding for AP history. Those are things that they're trying to do. But anyone says to you, oh, they can't do this, they're not going to be able to do this, they did it already. In Project 2025, the foundation of this whole thing is to expand the powers of the executive branch. That is the overarching goal, to expand the powers of the executive branch. Well, what did Trump have in his executive orders each year of his presidency? And this is why I encourage you to go read his executive orders and sit side by side with Project 2025. That executive order, it's like probably 11 or 12 down, but it is very important. he had an executive order to expand the powers of the executive branch.
Aisha and I have broken this down for you so easy. You must do your research. If you don't want to do all that research, then go back to and watch the replay where we broke all of this down. I am so passionate about this daggone Project 2025 because this is beyond dangerous. This is beyond Danger Will Robinson danger. Y'all need to understand that they have this all planned out and it's done. They're just waiting for the right people to get in.
And here's the thing too. If you want to know what Project 2025 looks like, and you don't want to read all 900 pages, go back and read his executive orders for the 4 years he was there. They're not very long. They're basically self-explainable when you read the name of the order. It doesn't go into detail, just tells you what the order does. Read them and you'll be like, wait a second. This is Project 2025, because guess what it is? The only difference is the reason that we didn't see those things the way that we thought we would is because there were people there that prevented him from being his worst self, right? Mm-hmm. But he doesn't plan on having any of those people around this go around. Nope. So go back and read those executive orders of his and imagine what it would look like if there are no guardrails, if there's no one there to stop him and tell him these things are illegal. You'll be like, oh my God. Because guess what? One of the first things he's going to do is child separation. He's going to go back to that.
Yeah.
Because remember, with him, the cruelty is the point. So all of the mean-spirited things that he thought he was right on, those go back into place. The second thing he'll probably do on day one is tell the FBI to issue arrest warrants for all the people that he hates.
Yeah.
All the people that he thought did something to him, basically held him accountable for stuff that he did. But yeah, all those people. It's going to be Harris. It's going to be Biden. It's going to be Doug Emhoff. It's going to be Joe Biden. It's going to be Hunter Biden. It's going to be all the Biden grandchildren, whether the ones we know or not. It's going to be everyone who worked in the Biden administration. It's going to be Pete Buttigieg. It's going to be everybody.
Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi. Then he's going to get to Congress. It's going to be Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. It's going to be every Democrat. Then it's going to be the Obamas, because God forbid, Barack Obama made people laugh at me. It's going to be Obama. It's going to be him and the kids and Michelle. And then he's going to go after, look, if Jimmy Carter survives that long, he might even have Jimmy Carter arrested. Okay? Which,
by the way, his grandson said that he's trying to hold out so he can vote for Kamala. I love that. His grandson said Carter is really trying to hold out so he can vote for Kamala.
Well, look, he held out for Kissinger to die, so.
Yeah, and he's 99, y'all. He's 99.
Primetime Saturday with Aisha Lala. Join Aisha K. Staggers and Laura Lala Key as they cut through the chaos and make some sense of the nonsense in American news and politics.
But you still got to give him the respect that he has been doing this a long time.
Sharp insights, bold opinions, and a touch of humor. It's the show that keeps you informed and entertained.
Nobody's talking about that. Aisha, that's pretty powerful.
Don't miss Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala. Tune in and stay ahead of the headlines. Last conversation piece. 3 Americans who were freed in a prisoner swap deal with Russia, including Wall Street journalist Evan Gershowitz. I hope I got that right. Ed, not my heart if I didn't get it right. What impact will this have on the U.S. presidential election?
Well, they're trying to suppress it, if you ask me. A lot of people are not talking about it, but this is a big thing, and this is a big deal. And I love how the media is picking and choosing things they want. And it clearly shows a lot of the media whose side they're on, on what gets reported. But I don't want to overshadow the hard work that went into this, and that these people are home.
Yeah. You know, when Brittany Griner was brought home, everyone kept saying, particularly people on the right, well, why not? What about Paul Whelan? He forgot about Paul Whelan. He forgot. Apparently, he did not. And this has been, remember, this has been going on. This negotiation has probably been going on for about a year. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it involved not just us, but it involved us reaching out to our allies and saying, hey, we need your help on this, and we can help you on this. Let's do this big package together, because those were the ones that were just released back to the US, right?
Yeah.
That we know about. But there were others that went back to places like Germany and other places that were captured in Russia. So there's that. But the other thing, too, that pisses them off, especially on the right, is that Putin went along with it.
Yeah.
He got
Aisha, listen, I need to pick your brain on that, sis.
He
Because
only
you
got,
the one who told me about this yesterday, because I wasn't
well,
like, I stepped off.
yeah,
Wow.
because I told you why Putin did this. Because Putin's not dumb. Putin is mean, like Trump, but he's not stupid. His people might only see the media that he allows them to, but you can best believe in his Russian castle, he's watching news from over the world, and he sees that enthusiasm behind Kamala Harris. He saw the fact that she raised $330 million in less than 2 weeks. Okay?
Crazy.
Less than 2 weeks. She raised more money in less than 2 weeks of the last month than Trump than he raised all month. Like more than twice what he made, right? So he sees that. He sees how people are responding to her. He realizes that he also sees the polls. Trump's like, I'm winning bigly in all the polls. I'm like, first of all, your people need to start showing you actual polls and stop making up their own, because, and you know how little credit I give to polls, but that margin, y'all are just 1 percentage point away, whether it's her up by 1 or her down by 1. It's not the same. I need them to stop showing him the Biden polls and writing out Biden's name and typing in Kamala's name and saying saying, here's the poll, right? Because it's that close, and Putin can see the writing on the wall. He's like, I'm gonna have to make nice if I'm gonna have to deal with her, okay? Because guess who else has never dealt with a black woman in power?
No, you got that right.
Vladimir Putin.
That's
and guess
right.
who else is just as scared as this black woman with power? Vladimir Putin. Because you know what? What's the saying from Brand Nubian? Punks jumped up to get beat down. Basically.
I love it. I'm just glad they're home. Anytime that we can get our people home is always a wonderful time to celebrate.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's a good look for us. I'm happy for those people. It also shows too, hey, wait a second. This would never have been possible either if we didn't have NATO, because these are our NATO partners. But you know what I loved even more was Joe Biden's victory lap when he did his speech at the White House, and he was talking about this, right? And they said to him, well, you know, Donald Trump said that he could get Pauline home without having to give up anything. He's like, well, he didn't do it, did he?
Right.
There was that. And then I love the other one when they said, well, are you going to have a conversation with Putin? And he said, I don't need to talk to Putin.
I don't need to talk to him.
Like Joe Biden, look, Joe Biden is my favorite, is one of my favorite kinds of presidents. A lame duck president, because lame duck presidents, they don't care about anything. Okay, they don't care about anything. Not only that, but he's acting like I'm out of this in a few months. But it's kind of like he's that person at your job that's 6 months away from retiring.
Yes. And everything rolls down the hill.
So they say everything that they've been holding in for 30 years.
I love it.
That's providing. Yeah.
All right. Dr. Tachi says this is fantastic news. And Regina says either Putin anticipates a Harris win, or is he appearing to support her while plotting to interfere on the November 5th for 45?
I don't think that he's plotting, or first of all, he's not appearing to support her. He's not supporting her, period.
Sure.
Is he plotting to interfere on November 5th? There's already Russian interference. It's the misinformation. But is he going to do this for that? The problem is that the fact that he made this concession tells me that this is the kind of excitement and energy that even if he tries to interfere, he can't stop. And he knows that it will have minimal effect. Because remember, Putin targets people specifically who will likely vote for Democrats. The people that he doesn't target are never Trumpers. They're those people. They're the independents. He never targets them. So that's the writing on the wall. I think that also too, you got to remember, Putin interfering in or trying to interfere in U.S. elections isn't something that just started with when he did it with Donald Trump. He also tried during the Obama elections. And I think what Putin is seeing is a repeat of 2008 when they tried it with the Obama elections, and that enthusiasm and support and the excitement from voters was not something that they could contain through any of their tactics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think this is really him. I think more than anything, this is pretty much like a surrender. Like, I'm going to have to be good for 4 years.
We'll see. Dr. Tachi says.
Nothing surprises me anymore, though.
Yeah.
Huh?
So there's still a long way to go.
I think there's still a long way to go. But honestly, being here and being on the ground and seeing this like firsthand everywhere,
We'll
I think she's going to win. I don't put it this way. I don't see Trump winning when even his own people who watch, for example, I was in the doctor's office yesterday. Doctor's offices are notorious for playing Fox News. So you end up sitting around a lot of people that listen to Fox News and watch Fox News when they're not at the doctor's office. That's why doctor's offices play Fox News. They don't have NBC. They don't have MSNBC. They don't have CNN. Just Fox News. And I'm sitting there and they were showing something that he said, and I heard people, the way that people, their body language about when he said the racist things made them very uncomfortable. And I got to say this because you have to remember, with Barack Obama, we said the same thing too. Everybody said the same thing too, that a black man will never become president. And we were all dead wrong because he slaughtered John McCain in the Electoral College, did the same thing for Mitt Romney. But also too, some of the votes that he did get were from people who did not like being considered or counted in that racist faction, even though they might have some racist beliefs. It's one thing to be racist internally. It's another thing that you don't want people to call you and you don't want the stigma attached to it. And right now, people are seeing that play out with him. The thing is that because Trump's not going to change his playbook from any of his elections, and now this one is being written this way. You have to remember too that Barack Obama didn't run against Donald Trump. Donald Trump wanted to run against Barack Obama, but he couldn't. But here he is, and he's able to run against Kamala Harris. He's running against Kamala Harris like she was Barack Obama, and he's gonna it's early, we're just getting started, but everything he's gonna throw out at her is going to be everything that he's thrown out at Barack Obama in the last 15 years, especially after the DNC and after Obama speaks in her favor. Then he's going to paint her with the Obama brush, and that will be his downfall, because you forget, Barack Obama is still the most beloved president in United States history. Still.
As always, want to thank the ladies for showing up and showing strong. They always show up and they always show strong. So, Lala, you make it easy. How do you do it?
I put it all in one spot for y'all, but I want to ask y'all a favor this week. I too am also trying to grow my YouTube channel. So in this link here, bit.ly/Laura Key Info, if you could please make sure that you go and show some love to my YouTube channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, subscribe and then hit the notification button. Aisha K. Staggers.
Yeah, there you can find me on, well, you'll find me on Twitter, hopefully tomorrow, because I'm still on suspension. Today's my last day, and Instagram. So,
all right, good stuff. And myself, here are all the crazy places. I have never been banned on any of these platforms. I don't know what. I guess someone likes me still in those in the what is it, the digital sphere, the digital world. But website the drvibeshow.com. Also YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, the Dr. Vibe Show. Instagram at the drvibeshow. X/Twitter at drvibeshow, and email dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. That's it. And as always, we want to make sure we close everything off. There is the link where you can catch the Patreon broadcasts. Aisha, Lala, and this week, Jill Jones. There you go. The three amigos will be back. Primetime Saturday store. There is the link there. Also, you want to join the Discord group? I highly recommend you join the Discord group, especially with what's going to happen in the next few months, American political wise. It's going to be fire like it always is. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. Hit the notification button. Hit it, gets to 1,600. So Lala's first, then mine. And then like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And then finally, if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms I'm a part of, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. So this is how we close it out. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and keep fighting. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith. Walk good. And we'll chat soon.